So in this video, we'll be doing some sketching for rights. We'll be trying to put down some ideas and just figure out something for the logo. So it is important to note that you do not have to be an artist or know how to draw. What we're doing in this phase is to just get down concepts so that we're not going into Illustrator and just trying to put things around. We want to know what we want to create. And so this phase is just to put down ideas, try out a few combinations, see what works, cancel out some things, take some things, and eventually land on something that could work. So let's dive right into it. So we have the name of the brand, right? Let's write it in capital letters and also try small letters. Now we have our W, which can be useful. Can try W in different styles. Again, you don't have to be an artist. We're just trying out different things. The Okay, this looks like an upside down book. So let's bring in a book and see if that's something we can use. So can add more pages. Can draw out a pencil or pen, whatever the case is. Now, when you're writing, you usually use this as illustration for that, and then you have like a pen over here. So we also capture that, and essentially we're just putting down different ideas for what can be. We already talked about doing like a logo type, so we can say what would this look like if we tried this, right? We can also do mix them both, small and capital letters. So write TE. So remember, we want a playful font. No. So remember, we want something that is playful, but then is still professional. So for professional, we can work with bold text. So instead of just thinning the writings, we can have something that is actually boldened. So that opens the door to more possibilities. So now for our book, would be excellent if we're working with letters like V, would be perfect. But let's still just keep that somewhere. And again, your ideas don't have to be perfect. You're not trying to do a painting. We're just trying to sketch a few things out and see what can work. So we can use this W and bring a pen here. So that's something we can do. We can, let's see, what if we make the base rounder? So we have something like this instead of sharp edges. We have, okay, still maintain that roundness. What if we break this apart and say we have this and have something like this? So again, different ideas. This can work for, say, that collaboration part of the brand. This looks all right. But again, I mentioned that for rights, because the text isn't so much, we have just 5 characters. So a logo type would be amazing for that. So I think finding a font that has something that is bold. So these are key things that we need to note. It's bold, it is playful, or not necessarily playful, creative in some sense. It shows some creativity. So it's not bland, because a font like this, so a sans serif essentially, or even a serif wouldn't show any creativity. It's just strokes of lines. So we need something that is a bit altered so that we have that sense of creativity. So our bold would highlight the professional. And then we can also add elements that just illustrate that. So remember, we have our pen, and like I was saying, we can use that with our W here. So say we have this, I'll just shade it in so that we have some thickness. You're just drawing lines. So you don't have to be an artist here. And we raise this up a bit to illustrate like a pen. And then whatever we do with the other text here, we can add like a full stop to illustrate completion, which can also mean after you meet us, that's we deliver in such a way that you don't need to go anywhere anymore. So yeah, let me just sketch out. Let me use this and use small letters here to sketch out something and see if we can work with that. So we need something that is thick, so it cannot be thin because we want to highlight that boldness, that professionalism, sort of. We need something that is not just straight out, so that we can also highlight that sense of creativity. So maybe some alterations here, maybe some alterations here instead of just having it be straight. Maybe some alterations here. And then same with our right, we have something here. Say something like this. Sketch this out as well. Have our rights. Now some alterations in all these areas. We don't want a straight lines. We don't want that. We want some sense of creativity. So we have those alterations here, and then our T as well. So alterations in all those areas. So we might find a font that gives us something like we need, and we might just pick a random sans serif font and start to adjust them. We can direct select in Illustrator and go into specific corners and make adjustments. So we have our E as well. So you can see that I'm just shading in, I'm not doing anything special. So we have our E. So we have this here illustrating our pen to show that, okay, we're writing something here. And we can add a, say, full stop, just to highlight that sense of creativity. Now we have a straight line, but we can also arrange them in a way that is, say, maybe something like this. So we have our W here, that will have that base. We have our Y here, we have our Y here, our R here, our Y here. We have our T here, sort of going up, and we have our E. So of course we won't have this much space in between, but essentially we're just working around different ideas. So when you're working with an actual brand, you definitely do more sketches. Your sketching phase might take 2-3 days. There are cases where you've done a lot of sketching and you're tired, you just leave it. And maybe you come back 2 days after or 3 days after, and the first thing you sketch looks really good and you build that. So you definitely put a lot more work into this. You're thinking through, again, those keywords are there. Like we have to add them in, right? So the decisions we're making are based on those. We have our mood board that has given us that sense of joy, essentially. When people come to write or when people see writes, we want them to have that sense of, just that sense of creativity and all, like there's fun here, but then they also know their stuff. So now we're settling with using a logo type, and we have something here. But again, we might do more in an actual context of work. So you do more sketches, you can try something with the other letters. You can do do your W, R, Y, T, E, and decide that you want to work with the Y. The reason why I'm choosing the W is because we want them to remember that it is right if we're using the W as our logo mark. So that's very, very important. So think about brands like Canva. I mentioned that before. We have Canva. It's sort of like a calligraphic font. And then we have the C for the logo type. Think about Adobe. We have this, we have the OBE, and we have the A as the logo type. So different ideas. If you're working with a brand that has a longer name, then you most likely might think of investing more time in developing an icon, a logo mark that can be used without the name in cases so that people can remember. So it doesn't have to be the first letter or even the initials. You can use a specific logo mark created for the brand. So in your project, you might choose a name that is longer. You might choose a short name, whatever the case is, and you work around that. But essentially, what you're doing in sketching is just putting down ideas. Nothing too complicated. Don't overthink anything. Don't try to make sure that your line is straight or your strokes are straight. Just put down ideas essentially, and just sketch around. Open a new page, sketch around, and just work around different ideas. So now I'll take a picture of this, and in our next video, we'll bring it into illustration and take our work on from there. See you there.